Well, it's Monday, February 21st. I'm still fighting a little bit of this, whatever sinus or whatever this is that's been bugging me all week. Still having a little bit of just fatigue. So I'm kind of late getting out here going today. We ran some errands, came back, and I'm just starting on some things in my garden. It's probably around 2 o'clock. But I really want to get some T-post put in my upper garden. I did row 1 on a video not too long ago. I have 4 I need to put on row 4 and a few on row 5. So I'm going to jump on that today. I'm going to use my handy ladder and my yard rake that I used the other day to put the other T-post up. Those are like 2 really dependable employees that don't talk on their cell phones, they don't take breaks, and they don't ask me a lot of questions. They just do their work. So I'm excited to employ them again today, and I'm going to get these T-posts put up. Hello everybody, it's a different day. It's tomorrow from yesterday when I started filming this. I got out there and I put 10 out of the 12 poles that I needed up. I didn't film anything because it was like gale force winds out there. I couldn't believe it when I got out there and started working. It was just blowing so hard that even though I had my ladder and my rake, kind of wedging in my T-post, they were still blowing over. It was literally blowing my T-post over. Even though I kind of pushed them in the ground a little bit and everything, I just couldn't get it going yesterday. It was really a pain. I could have really used a human being to help me just hold the poles. Would have been a lot easier. But I got 10 of them in, and then I had to stop because my husband needed me for something. And I realized when I turned the tractor off that it was thundering really, really bad, and there was lightning in the distance. And I didn't even realize that while I was working. So we just had to shut it down, go to the house, and call it a day. It didn't rain really, really bad up here, but, I ended up doing other things in the house. So I'm going to get out there today. I've got 2 poles to put in, and then I'm going to start hauling some black soil and start my lower garden. I've pretty much got my upper and Richard's garden done, except for just finishing off the drip tape, especially in Richard's garden. But that's an all-day project. That's really just more than I can set as a goal for an afternoon. I'll be honest with you, I'm really still struggling with fatigue from whatever this was I had last week. What has kind of lingered, I'm still coughing, believe me, but what has lingered is the fatigue, which kind of reminds me of when I had COVID last year. I had COVID at the end of July and the beginning of August. And while that was a lot worse, and I can't sit here and say I had the same symptoms as I'm having now. I didn't have sore throat and earache and stuff like that before. I literally had, kind of flu-like symptoms, some low-grade fever, just achy. I remember being very, very tired at first, but all in all, I didn't feel too bad. But as the week rolled out, I'm pretty sure I was rolling towards pneumonia. So I started feeling really bad after having it about 6 to 7 days. And thank goodness I had a great doctor. She called in hydroxychloroquine, Z-Pack, everything. I was able to hit it with that. And by the next week, I could tell the cloud had lifted and it was gone. And I didn't end up having to really go to the hospital or do anything like that. So I was certainly glad about that. But what did linger, even after I could tell that cloud had lifted, was just kind of tiredness. I had energy. I wanted to do things, fold clothes, do things. And then I would have to plop in a chair and sit down. Or I'd be helping my husband bathe or do whatever, and I'd have to plop down and sit, because I couldn't get through the whole task. And that went on for like 2 weeks. And then it was weird because just one day I woke up and I'm like, that cloud is lifted. It's gone. I could just tell it was gone, that tiredness. So it's kind of surprised me that with this episode, with different symptoms, what is lingering is the fatigue, which kind of makes me wonder what's going on. But it's no point in going to the doctor or doing anything like that. I'm taking care of myself, and I'm trying to just give myself a break. This is really go time of the year, and here in South Louisiana, it's all of a sudden warmed up. It's 80 degrees out here today. It's hot, actually, and there's a lot I could be doing. But I'm just having to pace myself because I don't want to completely wear myself out and end up just having to take a whole day off to lay in bed. So I'm just kind of pacing myself. I'm out here on my tractor. I'm fixing to back it up and at least go get those last 2 poles in. And then, you know, being on the tractor, hauling the organic soil to the lower garden, I'm sitting. So I can handle something like that as long as there's another storm doesn't come through or something. They were expecting some rain today and tomorrow, but we just haven't really seen it too much yet. Just that little bit yesterday, and that was it. So I don't know if rain's coming or not. Who knows? All right, so let's go. The last two poles decided to go in like I was putting them in cement. So no matter what I did, they just bent, but that's fine. They can just stay bent. I'm not going to worry about it. I have this string from Johnny Seeds, and I'm just going to kind of do a basket weave netting on a lot of these posts this time instead of running the Portanova netting. So it's fine. It'll still go on those poles. I hate to bend them, but I mean, all the other poles went in fine, and these last two, it was like they were on the edge of my garden, and I don't think that soil is very soft, so it was like putting them in cement. And of course, got some clouds rolled in right over me, and it's starting to sprinkle. So I'm going to haul this soil and see what I can get done. All right, unbelievably, this is the third day of me trying to do this video. That seems to be just the theme of my life right now, and I'm so sorry. Yesterday, I got the two posts put in, and as I said, they were crooked. But I don't care. I'm just moving on. I'm trying to move on to other tasks. I think that ground over there in that part of my garden is just firm, and there was nothing I could do. So then a rainstorm came up right after that. Now, I could actually see this storm coming from far off, and I could see the left side of it and the right side of it. And it just kind of came right over our house. It came right over our lake with our neighbors. And that's about it. I don't think people to the north and south of us got rain, but we did. So I had to shut her down again for that day, and I ended up having to run some errands to go help with a grandchild. So that was all I got done yesterday, was two posts in the ground. So the theme of my life today seems to be, you know, how to get, 5 or 10 minutes of work done a day and have a garden. And that can't continue on. I've got to get this going. So today, here it is, the third day this week. It's Wednesday, and I'm back on my tractor, and I'm fixing to back out and try to get going again today. My sole goal today is to move the black organic soil from my piles that are across the beach by Richard's garden and move them to my lower garden. I've got to get some of that transferred over. I've got to get it disked in soon. No, not in the next day or so. It's not going to happen. It's going to take me days to get all the soil brought over here. But I'm going to get it brought over. It's going to happen. And the second thing I wanted to try to get done today is I need to put my second sowing of carrots in. I was supposed to have done that last week. I just didn't feel like it, and I couldn't even imagine doing it last week. I'm still fighting fatigue, even though it's Wednesday today. I did call about maybe possibly doing a telemed visit or going to see my doctor, but she wasn't in today. So rather than go to somebody else and whatever, I just said, forget it. I'm just going to try to ride it out. So, but this fatigue, the coughing, the phlegm is just hanging on. It's driving me crazy. However, work has to go on. I have to reach a point mentally to where I just block all that out, and I have to keep moving on. So today, that's what I'm going to do. Moving soil, and not much to watch, not much to film, but I'm going to try to get it done, and I'm going to start rocking and rolling right now. I got 2 loads done. I've got a long way to go. I'm making a little progress. Been at it about an hour and a half. I got about 2/3 of the lower garden covered with that black organic soil. I just had to shut her down for the day. I really have to go in there and do a lot of cooking tonight to get something ready. So I just shut it down. A couple more loads weren't going to make a difference. I'll hit them tomorrow. But at least I feel like I'm getting somewhere. After that, I'm going to take my rake and just kind of rake little piles that are piled up, rake them out into those bare spots, and kind of get a good even coverage. It really doesn't take as long as you think. Within an hour, I can have the whole garden done. And then I'll put the disc on there, disc it up, put the hiller and row it up at some point in the next week. And this garden will be ready to go, except for my drip system. which I'll be working on all that soon. These are my envy carrots, and I'm so excited that they're finally coming up. I was getting really, really, really worried. I planted these on February 6th or 7th, something like that. So it's been 2 weeks and about 3 days, and I wasn't sure if they were coming up. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just started springing up. You can see they're tiny, tiny right now. But as these bush out, they'll really fill out this garden. So I was so excited about that. This is the envy variety. And then next to it, I have the Corota variety. I have 10 feet of each right now. So I'm so happy they're coming up. It gives me confidence to go ahead and plant my second sowings. And I want to get that done very shortly. These are my little Marvel English peas that I planted a 70-foot row of. They are starting to come up now. Every day that I walk out there, there's even more. And they're looking really healthy, so I'm so happy. I think I got the pH in my soil right, so I think they're going to come up fine. They are just doing good, keeping my fingers crossed that I'll have a good little harvest out of this. They'll be really good once they get going. The last thing I wanted to show you was my little bucket fence. I was finally able to go ahead and put all the string on I needed to today and square it off around my garden because I finally have all my fence posts up. So just the sand in the buckets and the string that I got from Johnny's Seeds, it's really going to do all I need it to do to keep my dogs out of the garden. They just seem to not, mess with it. So that's really just all I needed to deter them. Ever since I kind of have had it around my garden, they have not tried to get in it. And whereas before, they would always run right through it, going from one side of our property to the other. So that was my goal, and it looks like that's going to take care of it. I'm inside now, and I just wanted to show you kind of how I keep up with things. This is a little spreadsheet that I have. I have an old version of Excel, and I actually have it on a laptop that doesn't even connect to the internet anymore. It's a very old laptop, but I really enjoy using it. You can see on February 6th, I was supposed to plant the purple top turnip greens, the golden and the showgoing turnips, and I did that, and then the little marble peas, and I did that. So that all went great for the February 6th planting date. On February 7th, I had on the schedule to plant Corota carrots and envy carrots. You'll see it's the first sowing of those, and I did get that done. Now it kind of starts falling apart on February 15th because last week I did not feel good. And so I was supposed to do the second sowing of the Corota and the envy carrots and did not get that done. I was supposed to do my Chantenay carrots and my Danvers half-loan carrots, and I did not get that done. So I really regret that, and I have a lot of work to do to catch up because as you can see, it's 10 feet there, 10, 10, 10, so that's 40 feet of carrots to plant, which is not an easy task. Let me jump down here to March 1st, which is, I believe, let's see, last Friday was the 18th, 25th, so March 1st is Tuesday of next week. And I had put on here to go ahead and plant my first sowing of golden butterwax bush beans. Now I did that specifically because I was reading somewhere that the black-seeded golden butterwax beans could be sown early, even when it was still cold. I don't know, but I'm going to try it. It's not cold here right now. It's 80 degrees. We're supposed to have a front come through Friday and bring some colder weather, but I think it's still only going to be in the 50s. So I think I'm okay to go ahead and plant those on March 1st. So I'm going to rock and roll with that. That shouldn't be too hard. My main thing is to get those carrots in the ground. I've got to work on that tomorrow. I did nothing but dirt work today. March 8th, a week later, my second sowing of butterwax beans. Shouldn't be hard. March 10th, Cherokee wax beans, which is also a black-seeded golden wax bean. So I'm going to sow those, relatively early for our area too. March 15th, rolling into my Mexican midget cherry tomatoes and my green husk tomatillos that I was going to plant. Now, I started my seeds on my seed rack, and actually both of those are coming up already. Didn't really realize I had them on the 15th. I might have to push them back to the 25th, but I'm going to go ahead and see how they're, I'm going to keep it on there like that. Now, this is where it gets hairy. March 25th, Look at all the stuff that I have going in then. I don't know that I'll get it all done, but a lot of it is tomato starts. So if the starts are ready, they'll be, 5 weeks old or so by that point. Not as long as some people like to do them, but if I have them pretty much ready, they're going to go out. I'm going to put them out on March 25th. There's a lot of other things in there too, some zucchini, some cucumbers, things like that. I put a few things on March 26th, but I left it kind of light in case I need to roll some of these March 25th things down to the 26th. Same thing with the 30th, March 30th. I can roll some of these to the next day, but I just kind of go ahead and put them for when I think. So that rolls me into the end of March. Of course, I've got April and some other stuff going, and then as these things come out in May, I'm going to plant other things right behind them. So got a lot going on. I'm looking forward to spring. Thank you so much. This is Lainey with Camp Joy Farms. Bye-bye.